Hello, Ray.
Damien, good morning.
It's a fine morning in northern Thailand, wouldn't you say so?
Oh, it's lovely. Look, you can even see an aeroplane up there flying. So we don't have much smoke.
Now, here we are. We're in late February,
Yeah.
and we've had some smoky days, but I found for some of our viewers that have traveled, they know that every country, every area has a big butt, which is to say,
Only Americans.
lately, yeah, it's getting worse too. We've got you've got some things you love about the area, and then you've got just I like everything but, and in this case, from Thailand, but the smoke. The smoky season when they're burning the crops, not just in Thailand, but in nearby Malaysia, Laos, and so the smoke is in the air. And we're going to talk today about, well, coping mechanisms, I suppose. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coping mechanisms.
Yeah. So, what do you tell us more about air pollutants here in Thailand?
Well, I don't know much about the pollutants themselves, but the ones that we have to worry about is the 2.5 micron.
And what's that?
Well, that's the finest particle.
Okay.
And it'll get right through a surgical mask, so forget about those things.
Okay.
But that's the stuff that does most of the damage to your lungs. I understand heart disease.
Right.
And a few other things.
Okay.
That's where the difficulty is.
And
But it's not that hard. It's all how you deal with it.
Well, you could, and let's get into that. But you're right. There are some groups that are more sensitive. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm in the highly sensitive group.
What's that?
I'm the most vulnerable. I'm in the group the most vulnerable to succumbing to negative aspects of this pollution.
Right.
Because I have, they used to call it emphysema. It's now called chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder.
Okay. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's something to think about when you're relocating. If you want to be an expat in Thailand, that in the north we do get historically a preponderance of smoke.
Yeah.
So coping mechanisms. What do you got?
Well, let me back up a little bit, and then I'll answer your question.
Sure.
First off, the safe level of PM 2.5 micron pollutants is 50.
Parts per million?
Parts per million or something. It's got some strange hieroglyphic type thing against it that I don't understand.
Tune into other videos for the scientific explanation.
Yeah, exactly. Look to somebody else. Also for the health repercussions. But it's 50 or less. Okay. And this morning, I noticed it was 76.
Okay.
So we're doing pretty good. Last week, a couple of times, it was 140. But this morning it's 76.
Yeah.
But I've seen it as high as 300.
Okay.
Now, coping, you've really got two choices. You can take some simple, basic precautions, or you can get the hell out of Dodge.
All right. So what do you got for coping?
Well, coping is pretty easy, but before I get into that, I want to talk about last year. Because last year was absolutely the worst year I had ever seen. Did it affect me? No, not really. Why not? Because I was sensitive. Some people may not believe that in my family.
Or your viewership for that.
Or even the viewership. But I think it was like mid to late March. It started to get really dark in the skies. And within a couple of weeks, you could just smell the acrid smoke in the air. And I was helping my wife in her garden. After about 30 minutes, I couldn't breathe. Mm-hmm. And I had to get out. But I didn't know it was that bad, and I didn't have my handy dandy mask. This is the mask to wear, by the way. Well, not necessarily this color, though, this design, but this is what they call an N95 rated mask, which will stop the 2.5 micron pollutants.
Okay.
So, when I say you've got two choices of getting out of Dodge or whatever.
All right, well, backing up.
Yep. We're doing a lot of backing up.
I just want to make a comment that it's not like what we're used to in the West with modern farming technology and machinery, where they're able to, for example, repurpose the rice stalks instead of, if they want to clear a field, they burn it. And sure, they can have laws against it, and a lot of people burn anyway. And, these are farmers that they don't have a lot of money to spend. And so a lot of times what we're used to, that technologies that keep some air a little cleaner in the West in some places, they just don't have access to it. And so you can't really fault them in a lot of cases for what's going on.
Yeah, well, slash and burn's been going on for centuries. And there are mechanisms to deal with it, but most farmers can't afford it.
Right.
They can't afford to buy that heavy equipment to mulch it all up, put it back in the ground. So, and I often wonder why some entrepreneur doesn't start up a program where he can go and do that for the farmers, for a fee. But then again, slash and burn is free.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, a little labor, and they got that.
Right. And you don't make a lot of money selling rice.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like you used to. But that's not always the big problem. Lately, over about the last 4 or 5 years, I'm guessing, big companies like CP are growing corn, and they're burning the corn, and the corn is worse than the rice.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now, there have been I've seen many things that people have developed to deal with it. They've built incinerators that can burn it and there's no smoke.
Right.
But again, people can't afford it.
Yeah.
And Chiang Rai province, I get a chuckle out of this thing because the governor of Chiang Rai initiated a ban on burning anything. You can't even have a backyard barbecue for this one. Okay? Like some people like to burn off their rubbish. And that started on the 15th of this month, and it ends on the 30th of April. Okay. And now I'm interested to see how much enforcement there is. They've got hotline numbers that people can call and report the fire. And I imagine a few people will, but I can't really see too many people showing up to take care of it.
Well, yeah, and you think that culturally that's saving face for the Thai people might have something to do with that?
Could. Don't know. But anyway, this ban wouldn't stop the smoke anyway, because most of our smoke comes from Myanmar and Laos. Up here.
Right. Yeah.
Up here in Chiang Rai.
Sure.
And they're 60 to 100 kilometers away. So, stopping burning in little old Chiang Rai province, won't help us with other provinces nearby and countries. Do you want to go back again, or is there something?
No, I'm good.
No? Okay. So how do people cope? It all depends on one's perception, I guess, of the problem. It might be the right word. Or opinion. And some people say things like, it's not pleasant. And others say things like, it's so friggin' bad I can't live with it. Yeah. But I'm in the first group. I say, it's not that damn bad. I can live with it. And I've got COPD. And I've never had a problem. Because I'm sensible.
Right.
I stay indoors when it's really smoky. I stay indoors. I keep the doors closed. I keep the windows closed. I've got an air purifier in my living room, and I've got an air purifier in my bedroom.
Well, say more about the air purifier.
What is there to say?
I don't know anything about it.
It's basically just it's almost just a fan that sucks the air in from the room.
Okay.
Runs it through a 2.5 micron filter, and then it comes out the sides with fresh air.
They're pretty popular here.
Oh, very popular. Yeah. And, what is my living room area? They say this one will take care of, I think it's 1,000 cubic meters of air. But it keeps me down to around 9, 10.
Yeah.
Which is, way below the dangerous level of 50.
Right. So that's not cubic feet, not your square cubic.
No, cubic
Square,
meters.
yeah. Cubic meters all the way up to the
Up
ceiling.
to the
There you
ceiling,
go. Okay.
yeah.
And I understand that in last year's pretty horrendous smoke that a lot of the big stores ran out of their purifiers.
No, did they?
That's what I heard. So, I mean, just words of the wise. If you know you're going to buy a purifier, make that early in the season.
And don't go for one that's $200. Because you can't get them.
Yeah, and then you open up the case and there's a squirrel in a cage.
Well, mine was a germ. One thing I did notice though about these things is the filters all seem to be the same.
Okay, good.
So it looks like if you buy one machine, you can change that filter from any other. Whether the quality of the filter that might be another story.
Yeah.
So again, if you're getting $100 filter, you're probably not getting a great filter.
Yeah,
It'll be the same size.
sure. And if you get something that maybe on the package just has a 2.5, you know, you imagine that it'll be the right, you know.
Can I share something with you? Let me take my microphone off.
All right, maybe got it.
Whoa. What did I do?
You almost made me wear the table for a shirt, Ray. It's a little wobbly. Be careful.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're going to love this, folks.
Okay. So you said check for 2.5 on the label.
Yeah.
You could also check for the manufacturer.
Right, like a quality name brand, like
Yeah.
Samsung.
Or Seagate.
Seagate, great hard drives, yeah. World-renowned quality.
4 terabytes.
All right.
I got a hell of a deal on it.
Okay.
$1,000. I thought it was a pretty good deal. I bought it. It didn't work right. It corrupted all my files. And I complained to the vendor about it. I got no response. I decided to open it up.
Okay.
What have I got inside there?
Hold it up to the camera.
I got a small USB in there somewhere and 5 heavy bolts, or nuts, sorry, to give it weight.
And some hot glue.
And some hot glue.
To give it some heft so you know it's quality. It probably costs more to ship it to you.
So don't go by the name
Oh, yeah.
or
Well,
the rating.
And where you buy it, too. You bought that where?
I bought this on Shopee.
Shopee.com. So, yeah, it's something to read the, and if you read the reviews of that same model, you're going to see Ray's review.
Yeah, I might get sued.
I think that's pretty funny.
I might get sued. Anyway,
But yeah, what's the real nuts and bolts of that thing?
well, it's 5 nuts.
Dad humor and granddad humor. Go ahead, Ray.
So I wear an N95 mask outside if I'm not making a video, because Damien didn't like my sunglasses the last time, so I doubt that he'd like the mask. I don't use my aircon nuts,
Okay.
but they say the air conditioner will reduce about 50% of the pollutants. I doubt that that's the 2.5.
Yeah, it's going to be a smaller filter that needs to move the air. And another thing, just a side note, is that air conditioners here, because of the smoke and other elements, they need to be serviced regularly. They need to be cleaned.
Yeah.
And because it'll cut down on the efficiency too of cooling the house. So if you do have air conditioning units, you want to make sure they're serviced by an HVAC professional. Yeah. Okay. So what else you got? The coat.
And the air conditioners, they don't come, or they didn't, they might now, they didn't come with the 2.5 max on filter. Okay. But you can buy one.
Okay.
And have it fitted into the income.
All right.
But from what I've read and heard, they're not very effective, so
Okay.
I wouldn't bother.
Okay. Yeah, you recommend a dedicated air purifier.
Absolutely.
Or more.
I think if you're going to stay here, an air purifier is the way to go.
Okay.
Now, the other option to cope with is just get out of Dodge. As we said, it is just leave town, go someplace in the south maybe where there's less smoke.
You can leave Thailand? there's nobody standing at the border in a very official-looking uniform saying, "Papers, please."
Well, you can leave if you have a re-entry permit.
Okay.
Oh, well, no, you can leave. You just can't come back.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. But in my humble opinion, air purifiers are the way to go. Air purifiers and stay home if you're going to be here.
Yeah.
Only go out if you need to.
And if you're going to exert yourself and you're, trying to save money at a gym, the gym I go to is very clean and everything, and I like it, which is Gorilla Gym downtown.
Yeah.
The air always seems to be clean in there, but I don't know what their participation is with a 2.5 filter or anything like that. I think they have at least one air purifier in there, but it's too small to handle, I'm sure. The square meter or the cubic meters that are in there for air. So that's something you can check with them on and say, hey, because if you're going to exert yourself, that's when you really expose yourself to more risk and you're breathing in more of it.
Yeah. Now, I could go on and talk about some other things, but I think it's more interesting that I ask you something, because I know that you're planning on escaping.
Oh, yes.
So what is your plan?
Well, I made a deal with myself, because as I mentioned earlier, every country that you might want to expat to has a big but. Like, oh, I like everything about it but this. And so my compromise that I don't believe it was on your channel, but I saw an interview with a retired couple that were living here in northern Thailand, and they said, well, how do you, the question came up, how do you deal with the smoke? And they said, oh, it's easy, we travel. I'm like, I like travel, so I'm planning to go, well, first, I'm going to be gone for 2 months. The first month, I knew I was going to go south, and the place I selected was the island of Koh Samui here in Thailand. And the reason I picked that is because it's south of the end of the border with Myanmar, right on the peninsula there. Myanmar has what dissipates into the ocean there, and because they're, I understand, more lax with burning. And so, and plus I'm going to be on the beach, so I'll have some coastal air. So I'm going to rent a car and pack my little Cocker Spaniel up and take a few days to drive down to Koh Samui, have some time on the beach, and then I'll drive back up. 26 hours on the road, so I'm breaking it up over days. And hopefully I'll report back. How's that on how that's going to go?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Second leg of the journey, I'm going to go see friends and family in the United States, and that's another bargain I made with myself, is to go back to visit family and friends, and grab a few things from my storage, and just check on some things. And so I'll spend another month there, and that'll put me back here in Chiang at the end of April. You think I'll be lucky? Well, that's when the burning ban actually is out.
Burning will be almost done by then.
Yeah. I'm going to miss, what's the big festival they have with the water guns?
Songkran.
Songkran. I'm going to miss the Songkran festival, but that's okay, because it's taking place in smoky season. But there's a reason for this, and that is that my experience with smoky climate, having spent the last few decades in Reno, Nevada as a home, one thing we were exposed to was a lot of smoke with the forest fires along the Sierra Range there, including Yosemite, and it was kind of a dichotomy. Our experience, we always complain about our own experience, right? Our experience there in Reno was like, oh, another smoky day, oh, this is awful, I can barely breathe, it was terrible. But you felt guilty talking about it or saying anything on social media, because that smoke you're breathing might have been due to somebody's home going up in flames. And so there's suffering on another side of that. But it seems that along the Sierra there, a lot of it is, say what you will about the conservation, but a lot of undergrowth has been, of the pine trees there, has been developing over the years. And so it's a tinderbox. A lot of the protected areas, all it takes is one spark, one firecracker, one, fire pit or a tragic act of arson And boy, those fire crews are flying them in from all over the country to deal with um, the incredible forest fires. And I didn't like it, and so I made a deal with myself. Then when I moved here, okay, well, if it's smoke, I wanna skedaddle. So I'm gonna explore a little southern Thailand. I'm gonna make a stop on the way to the United States in Tokyo because I grew up watching Godzilla movies, and I hope I meet him there.
I think you have.
And so, for me, that's how I'm going to deal with it, and I'll report back if that was a way. Because, there's a lot of hassle to it, driving all the way down to the south. But then again, I'm still in Thailand for that period, and I can enjoy that. So that's my way of coping, is to do some travel. You would ask me about the cost of it, and that not everybody can afford it.
Yeah, not everybody can.
Right.
Because they got, they might have their rent. If you own your own house, that's one thing, but they might have rent to pay here.
Right, yeah.
2 months down south, they rent on something else.
Yeah, and as a real estate agent.
If you go home, you're talking about, what, 120,000 baht return trip or something?
Yeah, the flights, absolutely. I mean, you save where you can.
Yeah, so
and
not everybody can afford that.
That's true. That's true. The one thing I did to make it more affordable is, as a real estate agent, I know, in the United States, I know that paying to have 2 beds for yourself doesn't make a lot of sense. And so when I knew that I was going to skedaddle for the smoky season, what I did was I signed a 10-month lease, not a 12-month lease, and then I negotiated with my very nice landlord, who was able to sign me out of the place that I'm staying at now. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll be back there for another 10-month lease following that in May. So the only accommodations I have to pay for are the ones I'm staying in, and when I'm back in the States, I'll be staying in Tampa. So the flights are actually, you're right, that's the main cost of travel. Yeah. But I can pinching my pennies here in Thailand, so make it more affordable for me.
Right. I gave you 40 minutes for you.
Yeah. Yeah, but I got a 40-minute outro.
That's what I mean.
The epilogue. I guess what more we're going to have on the subject is going to come later.
Yeah.
How about I give you a jingle from Koh Samui and tell you how bad island life is.
You want me to feel jealous?
Yes, I do.
I don't know if I want to hear from you.
My dog's, yeah.
No, but honestly, Damien, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Good for you. Yeah. Me, I think it's different. Me, it's like, it's my get out of Dodge, as you say.
Yeah.
So, but in order to get out of Dodge, you got to get into Dodge, which is to say, come to Thailand.
Here he goes. He's on his bloody promotional stuff again.
Yeah. I guess the proof's in the pudding in that I signed up for another year here because I love it. And I love living here, and I save a lot of money by living here, and I made friends, present company accepted. And it's been working out. So that's how we're dealing with the smoky season. Thanks again for tuning in. If you know somebody else who's interested in this stuff or wants to know about it, send them a copy of this video or something like that. Like, share, subscribe, do a happy dance, whatever you do.
Oh, Jesus, you just took away my out.
Oh! Put a nickel on the guy, he keeps talking.
No, you're right. That's, and you're not alone in being, wanting to escape. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the majority or what, but a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
And a lot feel the way I do. It's no big deal. Yeah.
I do have one last little tidbit I can share. Yeah, here it comes. Yeah. Is that my landlord, you're right, a lot of people aren't going to come here. It's not the high tourist season for obvious reasons. My landlord said...
They still come for some time.
Oh, that's true? Okay, yeah, good point. But he does not feel apparently confident that he's going to rent my place to somebody else. I don't think he wants the hassle of it anyway. So he said, just box up your stuff, leave it in the house. If I've got to move it into storage for another temporary tenant, I will. He says, but I highly doubt it. So, yeah, not a problem. Yeah. So that's our video for today. Thanks for tuning in. And
Yeah, guys, thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.
next time, Sawadee krap.
You won't see this bugger for 2 months. Lucky me. Okay, so we're done?
Yeah, I think we're done.
All right. Sawadee krap, guys.
Sawadee krap.
Bye-bye.